Shalom, Mashpaka. Let me check my audio real quick. See how everything going on my end. I'm gonna check my audio real quick. Had to do it like this today. Shalom, Mashpaka. Alright, sound better. Better than last time, according to me. I wish I could clean out some more of the background, but for right now, I'm not on my PC, on my computer. So this is the way that I'm doing it for right now until we get back reestablished. And I want to just say thank y'all for coming. Thank you for coming out. Today, I'm going to talk about animals, species, humans. I want to talk about our differences, because there seems to be something going on around about that we treat differences as if it is a sickness. And because if one person can stand out in one area or in another area, a lot of times we tend to believe by our actions that that is something that is an issue. That's something that needs to be changed. Something that needs to be halted and stopped. And oftentimes we use uh, whatever religious background that we have, that we grew up under, in order to try to convey this belief. Perhaps some of us have been treated wrong before in our life, and we want to vindicate someone else. We may see confidence as pride, and we may see pride as arrogance. Arrogance and pride as the same thing that we would see somebody having confidence. There's a sister that's trying to express that that we as a people need to get in shape, and it was talking about that statue. And I saw a couple of sisters. I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't looking for a reaction from my brothers and sisters in that, but since that incident happened, it came to my attention that a lot of us have been complaining about that statue down there. Now I don't even know what state the statue was in, but what I can tell you is that a lot of us are complaining about that statue. And so I'm going to use nature. I'm going to use nature in order to express to you guys, to you, Mashpaka, on the analysis of what we think as a people in this current time. So with animals, when we think about animals, we think about species. We think about wildlife. We think about the animal kingdom. When you think about the killer whales, what do you think about when you think about the sharks? What you think about when you think about the sea otter? Because uh, a walrus is different from a shark, do we put walruses in the same tank as great white sharks? Or because they animals, do we take uh, a bird that we want to have as a pet and put him inside of the same place that we put our pet snake that we want to keep as a pet? Are we trying to have the animal as food, or are we having the animal as a pet? In specific environments, we will ignore environmental hazards in order to preserve this ideology that because you are different from me, and because I don't want to separate things that are different, that are already born separated, that means that I have to mix it up. A brother gave an analogy about fire ants and black ants inside of the same jar. What's the brother name? Uh, Titanium, I think the brother name. Titanium. How do you put the answers in the jar? I'm not trying to speak against the brother. I know where he was coming from with that. That if we gonna be together, if we gonna be around each other, that we do need to learn how to get along. But I don't know if that was the summary his uh, of his um, of his message that he was bringing. So in those areas, that's where a lot of us may differ, because some of us, when you come before, uh, I learned this even inside of elementary, that when you sitting down amongst a crowd and you giving a speech, uh, especially if you're going off of the top of your head, you have to have in your heart a main message. You may have subtitles, but you have to have a main message. And with your main message, you're going to use all of the other things to narrate it back to your main message. And that's like the climax of a Beethoven symphony. You know what I mean? That's like the climax of a 112 album. They did a song, and on each song they have a climax of it uh, where everything that has been trying to convey a message all comes together, and they come together in such a harmonious way, and it all conveys a message that, hey, this is work, this will work, this is liberating, and this will all bring everything into its proper statement. And then now some songs they scatter it out. Uh, I forgot the name. Y'all see the artist that I had shared. She asked if we could share her album, and she was giving out awards and things. So I said, you know what, that sounds like that's fun. That's something that I would be interested in participating in, and sharing the album. You know. Let me pause this real quick. All right, there we go. All right, so let me look up her name real quick, cause I brought her up, so I'm gonna speak her name real quick. Miss Crystal, and her other channel is Top Music Attorney. Okay. She asked, could I share that? And I said, yeah, cool. Yeah, I can share it. That didn't take anything away from her. It didn't take nothing away from me. I shared it, and it worked. Remember I told y'all about Bugs Bunny and them? Look at the Looney Tunes. How did the turtles win? They all worked together. But Bugs Bunny didn't know, because he slick. Bugs Bunny got slick ways about him. So, but anyway, my message is that having differences, there's nothing wrong with being different. Some of us, uh, may have been left out of a lot of things. I have. I've been left out of a lot of projects. You know, I may have come up with an idea and and um and tried to gather a crew of people around me because I know that's what it would took in order to get the thing done. And somebody else caught whiff of the vision. They probably had the same desires I had, or the same um, talents in certain areas I had, or somebody that may not have cared about that at all, and they just seen and say, "Oh, this is neat. It'll be something I could take care of my family with, or whatever," and they would take that goal and run with it themselves, right? Well, when you look at self-interest, you know, some of us from people who had a self-interest, they didn't have uh, a group interest, and maybe some people may be trying to save something that they feel like if this if black people get unified, you know, or if Puerto Rican if the European Puerto Rican people get unified, or if the Afro Puerto Ricans get unified together and love each other, then I'm gonna lose my Puerto Rican wife, or I'm gonna lose my Puerto Rican husband, or whatever it may be, and start clashing with everybody else that's of the Afro Puerto Rican persuasion, and say y'all are being divisive because if y'all keep spreading this kind of doctrine that it's okay for y'all to preserve yourself. Look, y'all, I'm willing. I love my wife so much. I love husband so much that in order for if this what it take in order for us to be together, then I'd rather all of your whole culture, your whole laws, the memory of you and your family, your line, your family tree, all of it to perish, because I love you so much. I want to kill everything about you, and without saying it, without trying to, but this is what people are arguing. They're arguing against their love to be married to an Israelite woman, or Israelite man has an argument that in order to be married to this Israelite, you know, to this Israelite male or this Israelite female, and I'm of Japheth, or I'm of another tribe from Shem, in order for me to be married to this woman, I'd rather all of the men of the whole nation to be oppressed. I'd rather all of the women of the, I don't care about nobody in a nation. All I care about is this one woman. All I care about is this one man. And I will destroy their whole birth and everything about them just so I can be with them. People don't see it, but this is what is going on, whether we want to receive it or not. And you know how I know this was going on? Family. In America, there was a act passed, act to save sea turtles, right? And let me show you that people know how to save a life. Look. So look, and there was also an act to save the Florida gator. The this right here, you can find it. I'm gonna share all this information with y'all. Y'all will willing when I'm done, but probably not right away. But I want you to listen to this, and you can look this stuff up yourself as well. The Sea Turtle Rescue Assistance and Rehabilitation Act is a proposed piece of legislation that aims to provide funding for sea turtles, rescue, and rehabilitation efforts. This act, initially introduced as H.R. 2560 and S 2086 and H.R. 347 and S 843, would establish a grant program a grant program. So somebody gonna get paid to do this work. Jobs are coming inside the market. A grant program because it take you to pay for the services to save the sea turtle program administered by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, to support organizations like churches, to support organizations. So they was creating a church or organization where they all congregate together to fix this. Every church does not have to have Yahweh over it in order for it to be a church. There could be a church of wizards, but if they're assembling together, they are a church because that's what church means, assembly of people. Support organization involved in this organization, this church, it was to save the sea turtles. Organizations involved in sea turtle rescues and rehabilitation. This was the purpose of their church. This act aims to address the cause see if something happened to the sea turtles, then something happened to everybody on the earth, right? Address the increasing number of sick and injured sea turtles that require assistance, not assassination. Okay, so with black people, what we call ourselves now, hairdos, Cuban, black, whatever we want to call ourselves, we know if we descendants of the transatlantic slave trade, we're the tribe of people that is over here in the West. Okay, that separate ourselves by our borders and lands, and I'll show you that as well. Y'all be willing, I'll read it to you. But it say so they know how to rehabilitate. So they know that they placed a bill to the United States or whatever government that they was, which in this case was the United States. And if we was in the kingdom, it would be to the king or to whoever the king established, and we would have to hand it to them, and they would have to take it to the king through the proper magistrates and get that to the king and let the king look over it. But in our situation, we would probably was at some people was probably out there in the street holding up signs or whatever they did, protests to get the attention, to get the attention. It's like a little baby that's crying for milk. They protesting for milk because they don't have the ability to get up and get it themselves because they're a baby. They have natural limitations, right? But those who were given the office to be given the that has the responsibility of that, then they would pass that on to them, and not just them that has something to do, but everybody else in those offices have things that they do. So in order to get to the proper magistrates, those who were protesting for this to be done for the sea turtles, they brought it to the government. All right. And so in what year was this passed? It's what we should look at. Marine turtles are protected. See that? Under the Federal Endangered Species Act of 1973. So in 1973, you got to look at this. 1973 and Florida Marine Turtle Protection Act. 30s. It's nothing wrong with protecting the sea turtle, because if something happened to the sea turtle, it's going to affect everything else on the earth. Everything works together. If something happened to all of the flies, you see what I'm saying? So everything work together. If something happened to the honeybees, they say that the earth things will get wrong. Every animal, everybody, every nation on this earth, if something happens to one, then it affects all. Every nation had their own specific responsibilities to each place on the earth. Well, if the Europeans if Japhet abandoned Europe, animals will go extinct, like the bison when it extinct. What about that polar bear? Then they say that the polar bear is on the endangered species. What has happened to his land? You know, what has happened to his natural habitat? Because if it's not natural for the bear, if if your habitat is not natural for the animal, what about you? See, we look at the dinosaurs and we say the dinosaurs went extinct. Well, you're not gonna get if Tyrannosaurus, if he went extinct, you ain't gonna get no another T Rex. You know, if the Florida Gator goes extinct, you ain't gonna get no more Florida Gator. Now, if your habitat is causing the animals to go extinct, then what are people doing that they wasn't doing that was considered wise to do then, but now it's not being done now? You see what I'm saying? So when you look at the marine life, if you see animals, if you see fish pushing up out of the sea, and the Bible say do not eat crawfish, and you see what the crawfish do, they clean up, right? If look at this. In the hospital, if you don't have janitors, if the nurses don't have soap in there, if the janitors don't go and clean it and everything and put the soap in there, the nurse got to clean up the bathroom, clean the floor, clean the ceiling, clean the toilet, clean the bed, clean everything, and also got to make sure to wash their hands all the time. So the janitor job, his whole job is to clean, right? The nurse job is to assist the head nurse. The head nurse over all the nurses is that doctor. Now you got a head of a board over the hospital. And then the hospital's supposed to meet together with other hospitals, I would believe. And then you got the what they say? FDA approved. They got to go through the FDA and all that. So they got order, magistrate. But if the nurse say to the doctor, because your office is different and I'm in love, I'm in love with a doctor over here, but they won't let me move to that area, then I have to destroy this whole hospital instead of me, if I want to let my patients that's in my watch die. You see what I'm saying? So we have to understand. Even animals understand this. In the beginning, it say in Barashayah, in Barashayah, in the beginning, he said, "Let every creature bear after its own." But we don't do that no more. So if somebody is mixed, we say, "Oh, that gonna hurt." No, we're not trying to hurt the mixed people. What we're saying is that you are extincting yourselves. You know, if you, what scientists do is what they did. I think the orangutan was endangered one time. I think he was. One species of orangutan went extinct. And then they also had the shoebill bird, right? And the government may put in billions of dollars to save the shoebill, right? Because he has a important part in nature. So to say the shoe bill, they have to, implement things to save the shoe bill. But when you look at Tyree Nichols' case, and you look at the sea turtle fare out better than us. So when I put on the back of the turtle back free, he more free than you. He is actually more protected than Tyree Nichols was protected, even though he have enemies in the wild. He's more protected. The government will stand by and protect the turtle. So Tyree Nichols, the ones that took him out, they say it wasn't against the law for them to do that because somebody may have, like who was that? Let me give him a shout out because he told the truth. With Tyree Nichols. What was his name? Southern Draw Law brought that out. Why was that what not considered? That all those officers was considered not guilty in every point. Do you know what that means? Because I don't want to offend this one or offend that one. Who want to be locked up for life? But think about it. Do you think all the other prisoners that did crimes want to be locked up for life? What about the man that just stole plowshares and was locked up for 20 whole years and was just recently let out? If you think about 20 years from today, what 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 year was that? If there's no law, if there's no order, no structure, right? Then how can you say the sea turtle? They put them signs up there, and there are certain places you can't walk on the ground at the beach because that sign is put up to protect the turtle. It uh species of animals is in this area. No poaching. Certain areas are blocked off from the public to go so that whatever y'all put on this earth to keep everybody alive so it won't go extinct. So if you think about people love money so much, they'll take all of the shrimps that they can get out of the ocean because people love to eat shrimp, something the Bible say not to eat. To keep the ocean clean, now you have lack of fish in the water because people love, and if he say don't eat it, then that's breaking his law, right? People love breaking his law. So they'll eat the animals that clean. Shalom, Elder Solomon Project. They'll eat all the animals that clean it up, right? So you got the leaders of our people, right, that was trying to help clean us up. And the only ones we really speak about is the ones that we are allowed to know that existed, or the ones that we grew up around that nobody don't probably know about. Like, how many of y'all knew about Mr. Claude Holmes Sr. that built Home Village that's no longer owned by Claude Holmes Funeral Home no more? How many of y'all know about Mr. Claude Holmes Jr. and his wife Delirious Holmes in Polk County? How many of y'all knew about her until people who grew up around these people brought out the information? But these things are shadowed and hidden, in books that were scrutinized in people who are living books are scrutinized and pushed on the back of the shelf, so that nobody will ever look at that book because we don't like what that book say. That book said that Israelites actually, when they was working together, actually did something good, and it was done in the 1980s. In the 90s, this was being done. That black people was actually living testaments. It's a living testament that I will see the elders in the community. It's a living testament that is not taboo. That's not an imagination. It may be seem like an imagination to the people who didn't experience that, but it is surely not an imagination to us who grew up around our great grandmother and grandfather, who had a clear understanding that they was that we were brought over here in the transatlantic slave trade. That clearly knew that a lot of us had indigenous blood from this side, from the west side as well in us. That clearly understood these things. That's right, brother. Like they say, my granddaddy say, he said, if you want, my daddy said this, if you want something done right, do it yourself. You ain't supposed to wait on nobody. You do it yourself. So like what I'm finna do, I'm finna wait for my neighbors to cook me something to eat before I go in the kitchen and fix me something. Like, y'all, we got to be saved and sanctified and perfect in order to work together in business. We don't ask the man down at the ABC liquor store about his credentials. When we don't worry about that, we know that that money probably doesn't touch, somebody hands that we feel like ain't no good person. But we go down there, you get a job down at Walmart, they ain't nobody pulling up all the Walmart records to figure out that they should work down there. You know what I'm saying? So all what I'm saying, brother, is that we got a problem, man. We want black people got to be perfect in order for us to do one thing together. We got to say everything perfect. Everything got to be all lined up perfect before we even think about, you know, doing something right. This don't make no sense. Even the animals work together. I saw a bird. I saw a bird that get covered up inside of the tree, and another bird go and grab the food and go and bring it right back to the tree. That bird ain't got to leave out of there. He just bring it in there and bring it in there. And then you got another bird that's, I guess that another bird will go and leave their egg in there because that's what they do by nature. Like with like the girl that have a baby and go and drop it off at their grandma at the grandma house. That's what the other bird do. She come and drop her egg off in the other bird nest. I guess nature had it that way. Y'all created it that way to show us that some people can't help. They need your help. So that bird that put that egg inside of that nest, they don't have the natural ability to protect their own eggs. So another bird has to take care of their eggs. So that bird, that's a whole different species of bird, has to go and drop her eggs inside of somebody else's nest. And when that bird look the same as the other bird, but when they get a certain age, then they leave out of there because that bird, that's how they work. That's how they kingdom operate. But if somebody go and they say, well, this bird that always worked since the creator made them this way, that bird is lazy, then that means I'm finna go and destroy their kingdom, how they got it set up. And when the bird die off, they say, "Oh, the bird is extinct because it was a lazy bird." No, it's extinct because somebody went in and messed with and tampered with something that they should have left alone. So when they seen how black people was operating when we was in North Africa, and they came in trying to tell us, "No, y'all ain't doing it right," even though we was the people that was originally given that book, that was writing it down. That was our history. And they say, no, y'all ain't doing it right. We need to take over this. And then they came over there. They seen the Kemetic people over there. They say, you know what? Y'all ain't doing this right. Let me civilize y'all too. Then they went, down throughout years, people coming in civilizing people. You know what I'm saying? They civilized the indigenous people in North America to extinction, didn't they? So civilizing other people by changing how they ran stuff is not gonna work, right? If you civilize the 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 walrus and put him inside of there with the great white shark and he died, I guess the that he supposed to be something wrong with him that he was put in there. You see what I'm saying? But naturally, by nature, they don't hang. They not, that he food. You know, so we don't put them in the same tank. You don't go to SeaWorld and you see the man putting if they got piranhas, say that they got endangered bird species that they're trying to save. In order to save the endangered bird species, they throw them inside of the water with the piranha because they're bird they're birds that like the water. So they throw the birds that they trying to save inside the water with a piranha. That's how when people say our law ain't good that we had in our country, that's done away with. There's no law in Negro y'all we supposed to keep. So keep the American law. Okay, we over here now. And when Tyree Nichols got beat down, I mean, it is what it is. They say that's lawful by them saying that nothing that they did was wrong, you know. And so you question the morality of a people. You shouldn't question it. You should know the morality of a people, how they can let that look like that. But you got people that been locked up that's probably still locked up right now because they had an ounce, they had a little grain of a crack on the spoon. that nobody could even see. You need a magnifying glass to see it. And they probably locked up right now all the way from 1950 or whatever day that they, what they say, three strike you at, 1980 or 90. They probably locked up right now. But when opioids came through, everybody else learned what mercy was and say, you know what, they need treatment. They're actually, this stuff is a controlling them. So we need to get them treatment. You know, these people need to be healed. They need help. They don't need this kind of treatment. And then they say, well, look at the black people. That's what happened to the black people. And now all of a sudden, weed is legalized. And now, what everybody was getting locked up for selling, now they selling at the store because they say, you know what, we're gonna stop pretending. Yeah, weed was set up. We was locking up black people for selling marijuana. Just because we needed the prison and we needed that to be filled up so we can get free labor. We know. So we apologize, black people, for slavery with the 13th Amendment. But y'all know it got to stay on the book because we believe in you know. So all what I'm telling y'all, fam, we got a situation here, and you know So I don't know what do you trust? Do you trust the proceedings? What do y'all believe about that? You know. So I'm about to get off of here, fam. I don't want to drop the link today. I just wanted y'all to come and listen to me today. And if y'all would like to do videos on this, please share your videos. I tried to keep it at 30 minutes or under 30. So I think I did better than I usually would do. Probably used to go about 2 and 3 hours. So 30 minutes, that's TV show status right there. Alright, fam. I'm about to get off of here, but thank y'all for listening and coming. And please check out the channels that y'all see on my posts. And go and look through the shorts, listen to the messages, and be encouraged. I got to go. Just keep your people in prayer. It's a lot going on, fam. And we do need each other, whether if we want to receive it or not. And I want to thank y'all for coming out again. And just know I appreciate all of y'all. And I just want us to examine these things. And let's be real and let's find something that we could do. Let's pick something and find something we could do. You know, and then let's come together and say, okay, I got this, I got that. How can we harmonize this together without destroy? In order for your thought processes to come together, they have to all harmonize with the foundation. All right, in order for it to work without friction. And all friction ain't bad friction, but any friction against the foundation, you know, that seeks to remove the foundation, that's where you have issues. Alright, fam, I'm about to go. I hope that y'all got something out of this. Shalom.
E.T. von Hom. E.T. von Hom.